Hi, I'm Erica with Fibersandfloss Canada. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is a channel all about cross stitch as well as whatever kind of crafts I'm getting up to in the week. This is a quick episode for you guys today because it's summertime and I don't have a ton to share. I've been focused on a lot of family time and getting in some extra work in order to pay for our big vacation that's coming up in August. So here's my book of days. As you guys can see here, I haven't stitched a ton this month. I just haven't had the time with the children home, and that is okay with me. So the days where I have stickers are the days that I'm working, and typically I'm working 16-hour days, so there's no stitching happening on those days. And here you can see I've got a heart on these 2 days, and that's because there was a stitching meetup. So at the beginning of the month was really fun. We had a meetup at Chitter, our local quilting shop, where we had some local girls and stitchers come out. It was fantastic. We had a lot of fun. And I met a new stitcher named Mary, who's just started a Flosstube as well, and she's XOXO_Mary. I'll link her here as well so you guys can go check out her first video. Our second heart was a day down in Issaquah. So I'm just outside of Vancouver in Abbotsford, and we don't have an LNS really in the lower mainland in BC. So Issaquah in Washington is our closest LNS, and myself, another local stitcher, Carolyn, Michaela from Synthematic Stitches in Vancouver, as well as Mary with XOXO Mary. We all drove down to Issaquah, and there we met up with Megan, the Seattle stitcher. We met up with all three of the Thread Gremlins, Elizabeth, Carolyn, and Amy. We met up with Rebecca from Beck Stitches Everything, as well as Lori, who's a local stitcher in the Seattle area, and she's a nurse as well, which is great. And I didn't realize it was actually her birthday on the day that she had come out, so very special to meet her on that day as well. Yeah, so it was great. There was a mix of people. We had a great time getting to meet everybody. We had a lot of fun. Went out for lunch, went to an LNS. I'll put some pictures in for you guys. We went out for lunch as well, and then afterwards, Rebecca and I had a new start together, so I'll show that to you shortly. I did have a really big finish in the last couple weeks, and that was, I say it's really big. It's not a big piece, but it's a very beautiful piece. This is Donner by Nora Corbett. I can get that in there without the glare for you. There you go. Now this one I had started in December of 2023, and I had at that point I think stitched 5 days, and I did the body here of the reindeer, but not any of the jewels or back stitching. And then I did now all the jewels and the edging. I haven't ironed anything this time around because I haven't had the time, and I wanted to get this episode filmed. So I apologize because this one does have quite a ring around it from my Nerge hoop. But here he is. So he's super beautiful. There's tons and tons. I don't know if you can see the sparkle there. Lots of sparkle in this piece. Lots of Krynic. There's some specialty floss. There's lots of beads. It's really, really beautiful. And I have to say the border here, a lot of this white, these are all beaded. Those are not white stitches. So, you know, it did take a lot more time than I had anticipated. I thought, oh, no problem, I can just bang this one out rather quickly. But it did take me maybe about a week and a half to do all the beading. And I used the YLI Invisible, no, I use the Wonder Invisible Floss, and I really love the look of it, but you know, you can struggle a little bit when you're stitching with that. This is really, really pretty. So this is part of a set. So my girlfriend Samantha, the Huga Stitcher, she stitches a new reindeer every Christmas and finishes it in July every year. So there's one of each of the reindeer, and then there's a sleigh. There's also a Santa designed around the same time. It's not part of the same line, but does work very well with the pieces. So this was stitched on a 32 count Twilight linen by, I was gonna say Zweigart, but I think it's witch hilt, but it definitely doesn't feel like a witch hilt. So it must be Zweigart maybe, with all the called for DMC, and there's some, is there, just dropping everything here. No, oh yeah, there is some water lilies in there. And then there's a bunch of number 4 braid and whisper, Mill Hill beads, and some treasures. One thing I wanted to show, and I don't know if I can really show this on video, and if not, I'll put some pictures in, is the tail of this reindeer. So see if you can look closely. Do you see how it's a bit, can you see how it's a bit fuzzy? And so if I go in an angle like this, you can see how it stands out a little bit there. I use what's called a Bunka Brush, and I'll put some pictures in here. So this brush is used a lot in embroidery to fluff things up. Basically you stitch, and with this one we're stitching with the whisper thread, and it's like a mix of like mohair. And once it's stitched, you use the brush just to kind of like gently like fluff it up, and it creates a fuzzy tail, and it's beautiful. I've actually never seen Bunka brushes for sale except for the one time I had purchased it, which was in a shop which is no longer around in Winnipeg. And when I had purchased the pattern, we got the brush at the same time. So that was a very fun finish for me, and it was part of my Christmas in July that I was doing as well. Then I have another finish. This is a small ornament. So I was stitching Sweet Christmas Ornaments by Dimensions. Sorry, the color or the lighting in here is, I'm not filming in my usual space because it's super washed out. In my usual spot right now, the time of day is different than what I usually do. So I hope the coloring is okay for you guys here. So this is a 3-pack of ornaments. Every year for Christmas I stitch an ornament for my children, and so I have stitched 2 of these, and I completed the 3rd one, which is this teacup here. So I haven't fully finished, but I just finished the stitching. Now these ones are a bit deceiving because when you start looking at them, you think, oh, I can bang that out rather quickly. It's not a big deal. But there's about 2,500 stitches in these. And then there's a lot of back stitching. And so it does take a lot longer than you think to stitch one of those. I will finish that one, and then I have this one as well, which is done, but cut out but not finished. And then I have one that I have done that's fully finished. And so I'll finish the other ones the same as this, where I'm creating my own cord edging, and then at the back I put their name and the year. And I had intended on giving these last year, but you know how things are, and I'm behind, and now they'll be getting them for 2024 instead of 2023, and that is just fine. Okay, something that's really fun I wanted to share with you guys. I have more whips, but before I share my whips, is I wanted to get back into sewing some bags, and I had made, I had ordered some Teresa Koget, her, is it Hop Hop Hooray or Hip Hop Hooray maybe? And it was with all the bunnies, and I wanted to use that fabric to make bags at Easter time. Life gets busy, and now I feel guilty I've never used it. So I dove in and made a bag with that, and I absolutely love this fabric. It is so, so cute, so beautiful. And this time I tried to do an upright bag. I usually do more of like the landscape version of the bag. You know, it's like this, right, with the zipper at the top. And I do like those ones, but I thought I just wanted to try something a little bit different because I do have some other patterns where I just think maybe this orientation might be a little bit better. So I went ahead and I made this. I had a lot of fun making it, and I used the same Teresa Koget line for the lining. And what I actually do with my interfacing is I use a firmer interfacing on the inside, and I like it because this bag can actually, like, it can stand up on its own. It's not like, it's not floppy. It's not gonna, you know, you can bend it over, but it does have enough, you know, it's sturdy enough that it can stand up by itself, which I like because some of the bags, you know, they just end up kind of a little too floppy for my liking. So anyways, I had sewn that, and I have some more material from that line. And so I was downstairs doing some sewing yesterday, and I'll probably put in some clips towards the end as well with something else I'm creating. Okay, so back to my whip. So I am stitching a round robin with Samantha the Huga Stitcher, as well as Sarah Lady Lugana, and we're just about ready to send our pieces on to the next person. So I'm currently stitching Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow from Samantha, and I'm going to send this on to Sarah here shortly. So this is the pattern. I just realized I have this card in here, but I think everybody knows this pattern well enough, you know. It's quite well known, right? So when I had got this from Samantha, she had stitched blocks 1, 2, 3, and part of block 4. And then I wasn't sure where to go with this. And so I had asked everyone and they said, outline all the blocks. So I had done that. These blocks are about, I think, 90 by 90. So I had outlined all the blocks. And then I wanted to get into stitching this block here. It says, we are afraid, and there's a ship. It's almost full coverage, really. And I do have a few more days that I can stitch on this before I send it off, but it's probably the last time I'll have it to show in person before it actually heads out. So I haven't ironed, I don't have it on a board, but I'm gonna show you all the squares and where I'm at. And hopefully I can get this in the camera because it's a bit of a larger piece. You see there? There you go. So I outlined all the blocks for her, which is good. Then she can jump around wherever she likes. And I know that, you know, Samantha would love outlined blocks. You know, it makes it easy for her just to jump in and stitch whichever square she likes from there. And then we are afraid, let me just fold it up so I can show you here. So I've started this block. And it's, you know, it's a lot of fun because, okay, a couple things. So first of all, the block I have started, I'm just kind of working my top way down, and the first color, it does go to about here. So I'd love to get this first top section finished before I send it on to Sarah. And then whether or not, you know, Sarah completes the block or stitches something totally different, I'm sure, you know, I'm around Sam enough that, I'm sure I could finish this block at some point for her, unless she would like to finish it herself. But I'm really, really enjoying this project for a couple of reasons. So Samantha and I, when we first started stitching, we stitched in hand, and it's all we ever knew, and that's kind of our comfort, stitching. Over the last few years, we really got into stitching more in frame, using Q-snaps, using stands. I have a System 4 needlework stand, I think it's called, and I love it, with the Q-snap attachment. But I'm also using Nerge frames in hand, just holding on to them while I'm stitching. And Samantha has a Lowry stand that holds her Q-snap frames. And so when I got this piece from her and I thought, 40 count, somebody else's, I'm gonna stitch it in a frame. And she was like, oh no, I'm stitching that in hand. And I thought, oh yes, because there's nothing better than to literally curl up sideways in a big comfy armchair, have this really, really wonderful linen. I guess I'll tell you guys about the linen she's using, you know, and it's just so floppy, right? And just having this in your lap, you hold on to it just like this. And then I use the sewing method and I stitch away. And Samantha and I both use sewing method, so my stitches looks just like her stitches. So it's perfect. I've really, really, really enjoyed this, and I'm sad to actually send it off, but it's time, and I'm super excited to work on Sarah's piece. This here is a 40 count. It's Legacy Linen by Picture This Plus, and she's stitching out with the DMC floss. No changes to that, just I guess there's the option for the silk or the DMC, and she's doing the called for DMC with that one. And it's been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that piece. Okay, when I went to Issaquah, we met up with everybody, and Rebecca, Beck Stitches Everything, she had a new start that she wanted to dive in on, and I thought, oh, I have that too, let's do it together. And so this is, it's called Santa's Midnight Ride, and it's a kit from Dimensions. And I'm not, oh, I got some reflection. I'm not a big kit person, but maybe I'll take this out while I'm talking. But something about Christmas kits, I don't know what it is. They're just so like nostalgic for me for some reason. And I wonder if it's because my mom, and when I was a child, you know, she was big into embroidery and needlework. And so we had all these little handmade ornaments, but then also, you know, the exact same embroidered piece would come out and go on the mantle every Christmas. And I think that when I look at some of these kits and projects, I think, oh, it feels good, right? And I think it's because that's what, you know, my mom used to have in our house when we were kids. Yeah, so anyways, this piece is full coverage. It is stitched on a 18 count navy Aida, which is honestly quite terrible. It doesn't say who made this, but it is stiff like a witch oat fabric. I mean, this fabric stands up all by itself. Like, it's just, I am stitching it in hand, and because I want that comfort stitching for me, and I just find, you know, it's not that enjoyable when it's such stiff fabric. So here's my start. What I have done is I have started in the top corner there. I don't know if you can kind of see those two. So I think that's a top that's sticking out the top of the sack there, and there's a red present. I haven't done any of the back stitching, but I have started on some of the sky. And it's really kind of funny because what I had thought I was gonna do is, and in this kit, you know, they use their dimensions floss, which I don't know why it's such a mystery as to what floss they use. It's not DMC, and I don't think it's Anchor. I actually wonder if it's their own floss. But I don't know. If you know, leave a comment for sure. When I look at this though, you know, it's 18 count Aida, so 36 count linen would be the equivalent. And it is 2 over 2, or 2 over, I guess, just the one block being Aida. But then for the white, which I've just stitched some white right there. I don't know if you can kind of see at the top there, the top of the top. Good Lord. And a little bit down here, it actually calls for 3 strands. And it, with this Aida, it's not shredding it, but I feel like it's gonna shred it for sure. So for the white, I haven't done the sewing method. I've definitely done a poke and stab just to prevent that potential shredding from happening. But I'm really loving this. I think I've done about 1,600 stitches in this piece this week, and I might do a little bit more today, and then I'm gonna tuck it away. I don't think I'm gonna have actually much stitching time now until August the 10th. So, which will be cabin time with Samantha, and then I get a lot of stitching done. But I've had a lot of fun with this. Oh, and one other thing I should say is that, you know, I had planned, so 2 things. I had purchased different fabric for it, and then I realized, wait, it's full coverage, so there's no use in it. Might as well just use the kitted up Aida, and it's worked okay so far. But my thought was I was gonna do like the 10 by 10 grids and go down, but I am such a die-hard stitcher where I like to finish my thread that you know, my 10 by 10 quickly became, you know, like quite a zigzagged piece, because I was, you know, I was doing my black over here, coming back there, doing more of it here, coming back there, and I quite quickly was out of my 10 by 10 block. I tried to kind of pull it back together and do that down here, and then, you know, I get to the top, and then it kills me to just leave my thread to the next 10 by 10 block when I'm like, oh, but there's only 4 more stitches, and I want to just do my 4 more stitches. So it's funny, I'm just trying to change my stitching style in this one, and I'm not having a lot of luck. I love to finish my thread, or I love to finish my, you know, stitching in that area. So I have that top there, and I just want to swoop down and finish just that little bit. I can't just leave that, you know, little bit of a swoop for next time. I just want to do it now. The floss is on my needle. I just want to get it done. So I don't know if I'm that good of a full coverage 10 by 10 stitcher, but that's okay. I'm enjoying the process. And so, to be honest, that's all that I have stitched. I've done some sewing, and I'll put a little video in towards the end of me just kind of working through my creative process of trying to figure out a new bag that I am making with some of that Teresa Koget fabric, the Hip Hop Hooray. But I have some haul, and I have a lot of Stitchy kindness as well. So I wanted to mention that on my last video I had done with Sam, I was just so tired in my video. I had just finished, when I work, I'm doing 16-hour shifts, and I did multiple days in a row, got up, filmed a video with Sam with no coffee on board, and I watched it after when I was editing. I thought, this is a disaster, but I'm posting it anyways because this is my life, right? You know, it just helps to illustrate that not everything's perfect. Anyways, all that to say that we were talking about Barrie bags, and she had reached out to me after watching that episode. And it's funny to me when I film Flosstubes and I have a Flosstuber that reaches out and says, oh, I watch all your episodes, and I think, you do? Like, you know, they're someone that I've always watched, you know, I've aspired to, or not aspired, they inspire me to try different, you know, projects, and I feel motivated watching some of these stitchers, and it's just a really neat feeling to learn that these stitchers are watching your videos as well. So Barrie, if you're watching, hi, and thank you for watching. She was so generous in sending out a bag to me. So I've tried to buy a Barrie bag for about a year now, and when she does a release, they're gone so quickly. And I have to say, Barrie, if you're watching, I went through and I watched all of your floss tubes, and I'm dying to know what's happened. It's been almost a year. I know you've moved, but I haven't seen anything new in the last little bit. So I wonder if you're going to get back to filming or not. I don't know. You had reached out, or she had reached out as well, because I'm stitching Elizabeth Furness starting in September. So anybody who's interested in stitching Elizabeth Furness with us, please go ahead, kit it up. We're going to start it September the 1st. Barrie has already started, but I'll be starting mine, and there is another stitcher, Noelle, which is starting and joining, and Lucy's already stitching hers, and then there's been a few other people that have reached out saying they would like to kit it up also. So all this to say that Barrie has sent me a bag, and she had made me this one here. And this is really funny because when this pattern had come out, was that last summer maybe? It was an exclusive first, right? And then it was released, and I thought, oh, I should definitely buy it, because even though this is a print, so this fabric is from Hands Across the Sea, and I actually have ordered this fabric, but I'm trying to cycle through using up some of my old fabric before I dive into this stuff. But this pattern was beautiful because the colors here look a bit muted, but when you see this stitched up, these colors, like especially in the border, are so bright and vibrant, and this up here is amazing. So I have to say that I have put my Elizabeth Furness in this bag, and she's gonna live in here for now. If you're interested in this pattern, it's Sarah Milthrop by Hands Across the Sea, and it's absolutely stunning, and it's definitely one that is on my list to buy. I just haven't got it yet. So thank you so much for the bag, Barrie. I think that's absolutely amazing. You know, it's nice to actually finally get my hands on one, because we don't have, you know, an LNS. There's not a lot of stitchers around here. So it's nice to just see, you know, how it differs from the bags that I make too, you know. Hers is quilted. It's quite thick and like fluffy. It's a little bit, you know, again, it stands on its own. I have stuff in here, but you know, it does flop as well if you want it to be folded up and tuck it into, you know, a bigger bag that you're carrying or that sort of thing. So very similar in size to the size that I've made as well. Mine's just slightly larger than hers, but very, very beautiful, wonderful craftsmanship, great detail. You know, it's very, very well handcrafted for sure. Really beautiful. So thank you so much, Barrie. I love that, and we'll definitely treasure that bag. Next Stitchy kindness I had was actually from my girlfriend Samantha. And so when we go to the cabin in August every year, sometimes, you know, we have a little something that we give each other. And then because we're doing the round robin, when we're sending that, we're sending a couple goodies. And I had to laugh because she said she got a little panicked because I'm doing a Stitcher's 12 Days of Christmas. And one of the pics I had chose for Christmas Village, she had bought for me already, and she was worried I was going to buy it. So she went ahead and sent that out to me early instead of waiting till August to give it to me in person, because she was worried that I was going to purchase it. So anyways, this is Sugar Plum Village, and it's by Shannon Christine Designs. I don't know if you can see it there. I can put some pictures in as well. This is a pattern that had come out, I think, in 2023, maybe. Yeah, it was 2023. And at the time I looked at it and I thought, oh, it's all specialty thread, so I didn't end up kitting it up. But I have it now, and I was like, you know what? There's only seven colors in this. That's it, just 7. And so I want to pick up like an opalescent fabric, I think, for it. It'll be really, really beautiful. So I'm super excited to start that, and I'll probably start that this winter, but not before Christmas. And then she got this little needle minder with a nutcracker on it, which is super cute. And she had ordered that from 123 Stitch. And she had also thrown in a pair of really, really tiny scissors. That's like a rose gold color. So I'm excited to put that in my pack as well. And then I have one more thing of Stitchy kindness, and then I have some haul to share with you guys. So there is a girl, her name is Noelle, and Noelle is one that's stitching Elizabeth Furness with us, and she wants to do the 103 conversion that we have. So we're almost done finalizing it, and I had 6 colors left to do, and she had reached out and said she's really close to needle in a haystack. She would love to go down and finalize those colors and pick up all her 103s for her project. And so I sent her the list, and off she went, and thank you so much, Noelle. She just, you know, spent so much time. When you do a conversion, it's difficult. It's so difficult when there's no L&S, obviously. But what I had done was, it calls for soie d'Alger, and then there was a conversion to DMC, and I had bought all the DMC. I was told the DMC is a wonderful conversion for hats, and yeah, so I did that, and then I ordered 56 fabric, and I needed 103s because the DMC was too thick, and the d'Alger was too thick as well. So I went from a conversion to DMC to a conversion to 103. So it was not an easy process. I talked about this in my last video. Lucy went through and she did a ton of work because she has 103s as well as the soie d'Alger, and she's stitching Elizabeth Furness right now. So she spent a large chunk of time on that, and I thank her so very much for that help. And then Audrey with Stitch Bead has also helped as well. And then now Noelle was able to pop in and finalize things at Needle in a Haystack. And she had offered to send the floss that I needed out, and I was working and I came home, and I was expecting, you know, a handful of spools of 103, and there was this huge box from FedEx on my kitchen counter, and I thought, what the heck is that? Like, that's not, obviously it's not my floss, right? I mean, and to my surprise, it was sent from Noelle, and I thought, you know, I had a really long, hard day. I worked 32 hours in 2 days, and I was tired, and instantly I felt rejuvenated. I thought, what is in this box? So I opened it up, and I was messaging with her while I was opening it, and she had wrapped 12 Stitchy gifts and put it in this box. It was absolutely amazing. Even right from the card that she had sent. So this was the card that she had sent me, which of course is Elizabeth Furness by Hats. Beautiful, lovely message inside, and also noted each of the 12 gifts, what they were. So I'm gonna run through a few of those with you guys because it's just so amazing and so very generous of her. It's unbelievable, right? It leaves you speechless for sure. So the first thing I thought, what is this? Is what you see right over my shoulder. So these things here are made from the boardroom. So Heartstring Samplery, and they are these boxes that hold your 103s, your spools, and there's a little like needle minder on the top here, and you can just tilt it back and you can load up your spools inside. And once you get them all there, you close the lid, and then you're able to just keep that next to your stitchy spot and pull the thread as you need it. And so she didn't send 1 or 2, she sent 3 of these, which is so incredibly generous. And they're such treasures, right? It's so hard to find these beautiful handmade items. And when you do find them, you know, they're hard to get and not cheap either. So I thank you so very much, Noelle, for that. You can see all the other flosses too that she had purchased. And then I don't even know how she knew, but something else that's on my list is the GGR. So on the envelope, she said, oh, I sent a GGR pattern. And I thought, oh, I wonder which one. You guys, it's Bridget Powers. It's the one that I want to stitch. So if you follow Comfort Stitching, she is stitching this right now. And this is the original stitch. And then this here, so the colors are totally different. This bouquet here, if you look at Comfort Stitching, she's almost done that. And it is stunning. Like, it is so stunning. And so I'm definitely I'm going to stitch the top part. And previously I thought, if I buy this, will I stitch the whole, like the bottom part too, or just the bouquet? I'm not sure, but I cannot wait. This actually, I may do this one for my New Year start this year. It's such a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And I had to laugh to myself. I was talking to my girlfriend, Sam, and I said, oh, it's like Christmas, opening these presents. And I said, it's better than Christmas because my husband wouldn't know to buy me these really good gifts, right? And she knew without even, you know, she just knew. She went to Needle and Haystack and she just knew what would be appreciated and picked out the most amazing things. Another thing she sent is this lovely wooden box, and it's also full of goodies. And so she had sent some of the Kohana scissors, the mini snips, and these are just beautiful. I think I have a train coming. Yep. It's every time I film, there is a train. I don't know. It's weird actually, but anyways. So it comes in this little leather bag, and there's a little leather protector and these teeny tiny snips. And so I'm excited for those. That's such a treasure too. The next thing that came in the box was some floss drops, and so there are a set of wooden floss drops, and then this one she put on a ring here, but these are from Sarcy Girl, and she's in Winnipeg. And these ones are neat because you hang these ones up like this on your hook on the wall, and your floss hangs from here, so you can have these. There's a couple people that actually have like I guess a hook, a rack, like, you know, a curtain rod maybe, and then they hang their whole collection up this way. And they come in all different, like this is the natural, but they come in all different colors as well. And I absolutely love supporting anyone who is a Canadian crafter. So that's really cool that she had sent those along. And then also a pair of scissors with a really cool fob. And at the end here, this is, we use these in knitting. These are like, you know, you put the ends of your needles in here when you're not using them or when you're done stitching. So that's really beautiful. And then she sent this little pink frame and some cookies, which our kids and myself dove into right away that evening. So that was an absolutely amazing stitchy gift that she had sent, and I'm just so grateful to receive that. And I thought my husband could probably use some pointers for Christmas from Noelle. So yeah, and then the last thing I have is some haul that I had purchased. So when we went to ThreadNeedle Street, is that what it's called? I think. She had a great collection of Gloriana silk, and the cool thing about that is, I guess I didn't realize, but Gloriana silk is actually manufactured in Washington, really close to Issaquah, and so I was able to pick up all the Gloriana that I needed for my chatelaine that I'm kitting up, which is Holland in the springtime. I'll put a picture in here for you guys. And so these are the ones I was able, oh, those are not the ones. These are the ones here that were called for. I don't know if you can kind of see them. She had quite a wall of them. And then I had picked up this one because who doesn't love a good like spring? It's almost like a Neapolitan, like a light rainbow color. So I thought that would be a fun one. And then I grabbed some water lilies as well that I need for Holland in the springtime. And you know, when I get home, I'm pretty sure I already have these two already from Stitching Mirabilias, but now if that's the case, I've got a couple extra. I also picked up some Rainbow Gallery Petite Treasure braid that's needed for Holland in the springtime, and now I've lost one of them somehow and sitting here, but I wanted to try this. So this is some, I don't know if you can kind of, the lighting is going now, but this is some beading thread. And so I used the invisible Wonder Floss, but I thought I'd give this a go. So I'm excited to see how it works. I actually hadn't heard of this before. It's made by Sundance Beads. So we'll see how that goes. And then I had picked up 3 different fabrics. In November, for Nora November, I'm going to start Tiger Lily. And I thought of a couple things. So she is stitched, I'll put a picture for here. She's quite vibrant, and she is stitched on like a bright white. I can't remember now off the top of my head the type of white it's called for, but it's a very bright white. And part of me thought about, what about stitching her on something like this? Something that's a bit darker and then just really allows those oranges to pop off of her dress. So I had picked this up, and I don't know who this is by. It's Moss, but it just says it's hand dyed and it says NY on it. So I don't know who that manufacturer would be. If you guys know, you let me know. It is Zweigart. And it's funny it says it's Moss because it's very much like an orangey brown color. But when I folded it out yesterday, I was like, oh, there's some green in here. You can see the green here. And so I'm not sure if there's one half, this half is definitely more green in the middle. But this half, which would be more than large enough for stitching her, I may stitch her on that side. I'll see. I have to pull the floss and do a floss toss, but I have lots of time before I need to do that. And then I picked up just some 40 count sand linen as well, just to have in my stash. Something that I definitely need. I don't have a lot of fabric. And then also some 40 count vintage country mocha as well. So that's good to have. I think that's about all it's a lot of stuff, right? Okay. My children are home and they're letting me know my neighbor's chickens are in our yard. So we'll have to deal with that, I suppose. I think they have dug a little hole under the fence, and yesterday there was a rooster and 2 chickens. One rooster yesterday.
1 rooster and 2 chickens last week.
Oh, last week. And then today the rooster and 2 more chickens are back. Is that right?
No, just 1 chicken.
1 chicken now. But this morning when my other one was up quite early at 6 with the dog, they went for a walk and then found a rooster and 2 other chickens in the yard. So we're going to have to do some backfill under the fence and put some chicken wire there, I suppose. But we will see. Oh, this is a new chicken. Okay, they have a lot of chickens next door. So I'm gonna put in a video here of me walking through the creative process and making some bags. What I'm trying to do right now is set up a new area downstairs where, you know, I'm able to have a bit of a creative space with my sewing. And so that's almost, it's set up and it's functional, but in no way is it decorated. So when I do get it organized, probably in September, I'll share that with you guys. And then, oh, now there's 2 chickens in the yard. How fun. We'll just keep the dog inside for now. I've lost my train of thought. Anyway, so the bags that I'm sharing with you today, they're not complete. I'm just in the process of making them and creating the first, the front panels. So I'll share that with you guys. And then I will be selling them as well. They'll be on my Instagram. So if you guys are interested in that and think that, oh, there's 3 now. I'm gonna have to go deal with the chickens. If you are interested in checking out the bags, hop on over to Instagram, have a look there, and you'll be able to secure one there if you're interested. Thanks so much, you guys. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm forgetting, but I'm currently distracted and I didn't write out a plan today. I'm doing this flying by the seat of my pants, so hopefully it was okay for you guys. I may have an opportunity to film one more time before I go to the cabin. Otherwise, the next videos we'll have will be with Samantha in person, which will be so much fun. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and enjoy your summer. Thanks, everyone. Okay, welcome to my real life. I have children upstairs running around. They may make an appearance, but this is how I tend to work. So I've got this little piece of fabric left. It's not a lot, and I'm just wondering what I can do with it. I really absolutely love the print, but I don't have a ton here. Maybe enough to make 1 bag, a couple small like notion bags, but nothing too crazy. I was wondering about making some cuts into this piece of fabric and making smaller pieces that I can quilt from. So one of my thoughts that I have is actually to frame out, you know, when I'm looking here at this bunny. I don't know if you guys, yeah, okay, I'm trying to look at my screen. It's quite a bit higher than where I am working. Frame out these 2 bunnies here, or the couple of bunnies at the bottom. And I think what is best to really keep these bunnies intact here. So my plan is going to be cutting just above the bunnies and coming down and trying to get some of the smaller bunnies below. So my cut will be similar to here and here. And then looking at what I can quilt this with. So just going into my stash, I do have a little bit of this brown linen. And what I really like about this linen is it's actually a really beautiful piece of fabric, multicolored linen, and it is a good match to the bird, the pot, and the sweater of this lady here. So I could quilt this piece with this edging, and then again just playing around with some other options of what I have for the edge of the bag. So I do have this fabric here, which provides a nice contrast between these 2. I do have a green option as well, which doesn't give enough contrast. But you know, in my bag making and my quilting, I don't always follow the recommended rules with contrast. And sometimes it turns out really lovely. I always think it turns out always lovely, but I mean, you can get a professional quilter saying, well, there should have been more contrast. I just do what I like, and hope everybody else likes it too. And if not, as long as I like it, that's what's important. And then I do have some more of this fabric, but you know, I don't want to have 2 of the same print, so I will set this one aside. I'm going to just start cutting this, and I don't usually work from a pattern. I kind of like to just do things, piece them as I go. So I will cut out a bunch of these pieces, and then I will cut out some border, and then I will take a look at, once I sew those together, which ones I like that on. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be this nice color here. Okay, so I have a bunch of the pieces cut out, and then I have some of my border cut out as well. So part of my creative process is I'm very much a visual person, and I like to lay things out as I'm going, just to make sure that I like the look of things. So as you can see, once we get these edges quilted on, you know, it's going to Yeah, fortunately, cut a little bit of their ears off, but that's okay. You can't get it all, you know, in this pattern that I'm making up in my head, I suppose, as I go along. But it would look something like that. So we're gonna get the faces of the two bunnies and the other two bunnies here. I should say as well that this fabric is by Teresa Koget, and it is, I think it's Hip Hop Hooray or Hop Hop Hooray, something like that. And it was released this spring for Easter. I had intended on making some bags and just never got around to it because life gets busy. So here I am making Easter print fabric bags in August. But nonetheless, I think they'll be beautiful. So I'll go ahead and piece that together over at the machine and I'll be right back. Okay, so I sewn on all the sides. You know, if you're a professional sewer, you may just cringe at how I work in my creative process. If I'm not following a pattern, I literally just hold the pieces together and I sew them on. I don't use any pins, and then when I'm done, I press it, I come back here and I square everything up. Looks like this should be about a 9x9 square, so I'm just gonna go ahead and square it up and we will see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that corner, and we'll use that to go ahead and piece together the rest of the bag when we're ready. First, I'm going to sew quite a few more of those. Okay, so I ended up finding this really beautiful yellow fabric, and I was able to piece together the front of 3 bags. It was just something that I found in my stash, and I really, really like the look of it. You know, if I think about the top of the bag, it likely will end up with this brown linen along the top and perhaps around the back as well. Also, the other 3 bags, I ended up doing this fabric here, but it doesn't have the interfacing on the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep the front of the bags and I'll sew some up. But that is the end of my video right now. If you guys wanna see how these bags turned out, hop over to my Instagram where I am Fibersandfloss. You'll see them posted when they're finished and they'll be for sale as well. Thanks, have a wonderful day, guys.